Okay, so here's my lovely audience for the evening. And we'll be
We're all over 16, right, guys?
camera people. Alright, my presentation today is on modern American funerals. I set out with this to try and find an aspect of a culture that I thought was strange, and I found that American culture is the culture that I'm most familiar with. So the strange aspects of it are come across to me as a lot more strange than some others that I assume would be innately strange to me. So that being said, modern American funerals, more than anything else, are a business. They're widely considered the business of death, and it's a really relatively new, kind of weird enterprise that is quickly becoming a very deeply ingrained part of American society and culture. It's become a massive money-making venture, which rakes in billions of dollars per year. The average funeral is a really new kind of concept that's been brought about in the past few decades, but it's marketed as traditional with a lot of traditional concepts kind of attached to it. The oddities in the funeral that are very present in the concept of it are the drawstrings of it that most people think of as very natural and normal concepts. Almost $15 billion is brought in annually by the funeral industry. The average cost for an American funeral is roughly $9,000, which is estimated by the National Funeral Directors Association. Small businesses make up about 19,500 funeral homes. Large corporations still bring in huge amounts of money, however, on funeral costs, with a lot of caskets being bought in bulk. Example is the Hillenbrand Incorporated, with a net income of $20 million per year. Wow. Traditions that have kind of led up to the nature of funerals as they are. Funerals usually happen within a few days of the person dying. Traditionally, they usually happened at the home of the person who died.
You sit down.
The oddities that circulated around these were the superstitions. They would cover the mirrors because they believed the first person to see the dead person's reflection would die. They would be brought in feet first, never head first. They would stop all the clocks before they were brought into the house. And wealthy people had special doors specifically for the deceased. Modern American funerals have a lot to do with a huge part of it is embalming, which I personally think is one of the strangest parts of the entire ordeal. Embalming was popular back during the Civil War. Undertakers would be the ones who would embalm, and they would eventually either answer to or become funeral directors, who were considered professionals interested in public health, even though a lot of the embalming as of the 20th century, funeral homes now take care of embalming, wake and visitation rituals, displaying of the body, as well as burying and granite for memorials. They would also lay concrete in the ground around the bodies after they bury them, which not really for any particular reason, I guess.
recently deceased include gathering around the corpse for several hours, distant relatives relating and relations of the deceased, attempting to remember the person by focusing on the physical remains specifically. The mouth would be sewn into a slight smile to make the corpse more photogenic for the wakes. They would be buried in clothes, usually a lot more expensive than the people could afford. They would have to be bought clothes specifically for the funeral homes. These are a lot of the chemicals that are actually used in the embalming process, almost all of which are very, very volatile, including phenol, glycerin, and formaldehyde, all of which are incredibly poisonous and tend to seep into the environment around burial sites and cause a lot of damage. Let's see, some of the newest trends actually that have been taking place. This industry has been exploding in a lot of different branches. There are a lot of new kinds of burials, such as turning cremated ash into jewelry, and things like diamonds, making ash into fertilizers, and even shooting ash into space.